this thing called jollof rice where I compete who is better. Is it
Oh,
Nigeria, Ghana, or Senegal
Senegal.
or Cameroon?
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I go food tasting of jollof rice. So I travel a lot.
Oh, that's brilliant. All right. So now you have a law firm that is pretty much within the oil sector.
Yes.
I would like for you to briefly just tell us about your law firm and what your firm does within the oil system before before we go into oil prices and oil supply.
I mean, our law firm, most of our clients have to do something with energy.
Okay.
And I think we are probably those who move from just saying oil and gas to energy because we want to really look at the African problem that comes with power.
Okay.
I mean, until you live in Nigeria before you understand how power is such a problem. And one of the things we did was we took lawyers, Africans, from all different countries. We have lawyers from Cameroon, from Nigeria, from
Oh, great.
Equatorial Guinea, Zimbabwe, all around the continent. And we said our legal careers is going to be dedicated in fixing Africa's resource curse, in working with corporations and governments and trying to advise and find solutions. And that's the biggest gift, that is the biggest joy of my life, to
Okay.
work with really smart Africans who really believe in our continent. And the lawyers, they complain about everything. They give you hell. Like it's like I'm between my daughter at home who doesn't listen to anything I say. Then I get to the office and the lawyers bring something to always argue and fight. So I learned how to shut up and I just stay quiet and I say, you win.
All right. Sounds like a good way to live life and live long. All right. So
Trust me,
consequences.
when you deal with my wife, you would do that.
Okay. Let's talk about the consequences of oil prices and supply cuts. Africa. Now, there was even last year, for example, some contracts were terminated, some delayed. Drilling contracts went out the window. What has happened in the last 2 years?
It has been, I mean, you've been very generous. You even say 2 years. The last 2 months, what has happened? The
How
last
bad
two
is it?
months have been wild. It's like going through this crazy divorce, and you like every day you like, no, he didn't. He didn't start something new again. No, he didn't. He came in and took the couch. And he came in and walked up. This is what is happening right now.
Break it
I mean,
down.
if I have
Break
to
it
speak to my
down.
grandma, I think let's look around Africa before getting to Senegal.
Yeah.
In December, Mozambique was so happy that they're going to get almost $50 billion in investment from Exxon, Chinese companies to build some of the largest LNG projects around the world.
Yeah.
$50 billion. Senegal, almost $30 billion in investments
Yeah.
that was scaled by BP, Cosmos, FAR, Woodside. Then you turn around, you look at Congo. I mean, not to come to Nigeria.
Yeah.
A lot of projects. So you're looking at almost about $150 billion in projects which were set to take off this year. And in a period of 6 months, it's like everybody was just dropping you. It's like drop, 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 cancel. Now you look at, now these countries are suffering. Now you look at service companies because most Africans, we don't own oil companies, okay? Not everybody is Seplat or Wando or Sahara.
Absolutely.
Most people just do services and they work. They lost those contracts, the service companies. So a lot of people, I mean, most service companies are talking about cutting 30 to 50% of their employees. So you're going to have 30 to 50% of people working in that sector without jobs. I mean, right now we're on lockdown. You go to some hotels in some countries, there is nobody there. There is nobody because it's cleared out. Nobody can travel. Second, there are no projects because everybody's like,
At home.
the price is so bad.
Yeah.
Projects are canceled. And when Europe and America, they say they have got into a recession, we in Africa, we're in a depression because our unemployment rates are so high that many people, you don't even count them. They're out of looking for jobs, so they're not even the employment listing. So if you're going in today and someone tells you, well, there's only 30% unemployed in Nigeria, well, it's probably 60%, because there's another 30% that they don't go to the Labor Statistics Bureau and say, hey, yes, my name, I'm unemployed.
Absolutely.
So it's really hitting our continent so hard.
It's so devastating, particularly the way you break it down, to see that this is what has become of our once upon a time fountain of life. And here we are. COVID-19 is taking away, our hopes, our joy, seeming as though even the future we cannot even predict from where we stand. Now, what can oil and gas industries do to enhance the possibility of a chance that's better tomorrow than we have it today? What can we do, both as a continent and, as an oil producing nation?
We have to start right now, and we have to get serious. I think sometimes we rely, when things are good, we forget when things were bad. We have to start taking things into account, and we ask ourselves that basic question. The oil price dropped so bad because China stopped importing. China doesn't have a lot of oil. They stopped importing. Demand was weak. So actually, who controls the oil price is China right now. But we need to ask ourselves that question. What does China do with all Nigeria's oil, with all Nigeria's gas? Nigeria has 7 LNG trains, 7 of LNG gas, all going to, most of it going to China. A lot of the crude out of Nigeria doesn't go to the United States anymore. It goes to China. Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Congo, and even Angola the same. What do they do? Now step back, let's look at home.
Yeah.
And say, they use that to build manufacturing bases, to build factories, and because they have to take care of 1.5 billion people. Now you have 650 million out of our 1 billion people in Africa without any access to any kind of power. Any kind. I'm not even saying they have some solar, they have no access to power. So if we start preparing to say, we are going to power Africa, we are going to manufacture Africa, what do we have? We create a big tax base, we create manufacturing base that creates jobs, and we electrify Africa, because let's be honest, you're not going to run industries with generators.
Absolutely.
You're going to need power, then you can really manufacture, and then you create jobs. Then we can determine the oil price, and we can be really competitive like China. And that's when you start looking and say Africa's time has come. So for us, we need to start planning now. It can't just be about us taking all our products. I know we've talked about this a lot. Let's take all our crude, let's take all our gas and find the best buyer, ship it. But my mom used to tell me something as a kid. She always said, charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Let's look inward. Let's look inward with those resources, because there is a market in Africa. If we have that, for example, I've been to Nigeria all the time. When I go to Nigeria, you can't say I'm not Nigerian, because I think I'm more Nigerian than most Nigerians.
Yeah.
No, I can hang. I come in there the next minute, I'm right there at the shrine. I'm like,
oh wow.
You probably think I'm worried, worrying at the carry last. So I'm there. Don't try to separate that. So
that's beautiful to know.
Our outages really kill us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you look at that, you have to really think, how do we get past this? And we have to start looking inwardly. And it is not time for politics anymore. We have to start looking at people, because we have so many young people that really need this.
This is not a Nigerian problem. This is an African problem.
It's an African problem. It's an African problem. But they say when Nigeria sneezes, Africa is really
absolutely
the problem. So if you want to look at Africa's problem, you look at Nigeria. But all of Africa, we have these problems, and sometimes we color it so much. But this natural resource industry, if we don't pay attention to this industry and help reshape what we're doing, Of course, we need our investors, but we need to really invest in people, and we really need to drive this industry to really meet the hopes and aspirations of so many young people that are hoping for a better Africa. Because my generation is not, I turned 40. I'm already old and going, but think about all these young people who are in their 20s and in their early 30s. What are we leaving for them? What are we giving them? And how do we say that we are doing something for the future when we cannot even make sure that their resources are taking care of them?
Absolutely, absolutely. You then suggest that Nigeria should immediately pass the famous petroleum industry bill. How does that even
Hello?
How would that help in any way?
Well, one, that helps you with issues regarding to transparency. Okay, I'm the first to say the oil and gas sector has had its problems with transparency and continues to do.
Yeah.
Okay, because when there is corruption and mismanagement, who suffers? It's not the corrupt actors, it's not the bureaucrat, it's not the people who are privileged and important. It is the everyday people like my grandmother and people who don't get a chance.
Yeah.
They suffer. So we got to increase transparency. You got to look at revenue management where resources are found in those communities. They need to be looking at that and paying attention to that. Also, you got to look at Nigeria right now. Let's focus on Nigeria. You're not having companies drilling. You're not having companies developing new projects. When they're not drilling, they're not developing new projects. Government revenue reduces. Jobs out of the door. So young people don't have hope anymore. They turn to crime. They'll turn to other things that we don't want.
Yeah.
So that is not encouraging. You need to create an enabling environment. So as much as we say we need the money, we need to create an enabling environment, and this petroleum industry bill creates that environment that some kid from Warri or Sapele or Calabar or
Edo, anywhere,
Lagos can grow up and say, listen, I have innovative skills, I would do something. And let me tell you something, you'll be surprised how many smart kids are there that just need a balanced slate that they can have a fair shot.
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask
No.
by citizens saying that we need a fair slate that let me try and let me work hard and give it my best shot? That's what this bill is about. Let's cut out all the complex natures of it. It's just leveling the playing field that the elite and the privileged, we all, if one-on-one is two, the person who gets it right should be able to move on merit. And that is needed now more than ever.
I would like to hear, in your view, what you think Africa is not doing. Because you just said the oil is going to China, the gas is going to China. But we own the resource, and we look at China as though she's a sort of utopia. We look at her as a wonderland of some sort of the 21st century. Are leaders failing Africa? Because this is a conversation we have every time, and it seems as though we never really call the name call it what it is. African leaders have failed.
I think the problem is that when we start looking at leadership based on presidents or ministers, we miss the point.
Okay.
The question we need to ask ourselves is that we are the leaders. Are we failing Africa? Because if you and I don't get our voices heard, if you and I don't start acting, I mean, let's face it, our behavior sometimes fails Africa. And I believe in what Gandhi says, be the change you want.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen, that happens to us sometimes, I've seen it with a lot of our brothers and sisters, is that, okay, hey, they call me and say, Mr. Ayuk, listen, push me up to get a contract here. They get a contract, get the first payment, they're not focused on even doing that job. What's the first thing? I want to get a plane ticket to Dubai. And then he comes back with 2 bags and everything instead of investing and completing the project. We need to have that really behavioral change, and we seeing that because leaders are only there because we keep them there. When we start acting and putting the frameworks around, we're really going to hit back. So yes, leadership is an issue. I mean, we've seen some really, really good changes. You look at a small country like Equatorial Guinea. They did amazing things on infrastructure.
Yeah.
They did amazing things on gas monetization. Look at what is happening in Rwanda. No natural resources, but they are attracting investment more and more and more and more. Look at Senegal. They have a well-balanced economy. They're doing very well. I think right now, I was talking to a colleague of mine in Senegal, and they were showing me how even during this period of COVID-19,
yeah,
they've had their own ventilators.
Yeah.
You know, the big ventilator from Europe is, what they say,
$16,000, yeah.
Yes, Senegal has something cheap, effective. They've had 2 deaths of COVID-19, and a lot of people are recovering fast. Their lockdowns is basically all evenings, not all day. But that comes when you create that environment and when leadership listens to the people, because you are put there not to basically talk to people, but to talk with your people. And when you talk with your people, you listen to them. And I think that's the failure of Africa. We don't listen to the people too much. Those of us that have leadership positions, we think we've been anointed. No, you've been appointed, not anointed.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, so now too many players in the game. It's the oil industry. We have the world's biggest players. How does Africa get an edge? I mean, we're in the market with Russia and the Middle East. What is our chance? How do we get an edge?
The majority of Africans are hired they hire and work for small businesses. So guess what you do? Take it back home. It's like what grandma always told me, give me that old time religion. You know, so you take it back home, make it really small, and look at small scale LNG. Okay. Small marginal players. I mean, Nigeria has done something that we don't give Nigeria credit for. Nigeria is the first African country that said we will create marginal oil fields and give a chance to Nigerians to develop that. Out of that, most of African non-state producers come from Nigeria. You have Seplat, you have Wando, you have Shoreline. My great friend Kola Karim, really, really amazing guy, one of his beautiful soul. You got Sahara, you got Atlas Petroleum, you got all these guys, ITO and everything. So you need to create this. And so whether some guy is producing 5,000 to 15,000 barrels, now you start having a sense of ownership. What is really lacking is that sense of ownership, because it's not about getting rich, it's about getting wealthy. And if you don't own something, you don't really control anything. So you create an ownership society, and then you empower people from this. So we need to start creating that balance, that we start owning our resources. And you don't have to have a field that produces 300,000 barrels a day. No, start with 5,000 barrels a day. Expand to 7, 10, 15, then go big. That's exactly what you do. Like I love soccer, and sometimes you start with the lower leagues, or you start in the B team, then you get to the A team. We shouldn't just jump up thinking that we can get to the A team. Very few people start up their professional career in the A team. You might have to play with the lower leagues, and but you have to train. So taking these small projects helps you prepare yourself and discipline yourself to go big. That is what we have to do throughout Africa, so we can create more entrepreneurs, we can drive more people through this system and really build it. Because if we don't do it, you are going to see a big revolution around the continent from so many young people, because they are fed up. They're fed up with not having lights. They're fed up that we have COVID-19 right now.
Absolutely.
And what is happening across the continent? Everybody is saying we need to run to the World Bank. We need to run to the IMF. We need to go borrow money. We need to go beg money. Are we not tired of begging and borrowing?
Absolutely.
I don't like beggars and borrowers. If you beg and borrow every day, sometimes you come out, lock my door.
Absolutely.
Because you say, man, this guy just bothers me. So we have to turn that around. Instead of we have enough resources that we don't need to go for aid all the time.
Now, you are an entrepreneur, so I'm hoping that my answer comes through the perspective of you being an entrepreneur. Oil. Africa I think that's pretty much Africa's biggest export right now, oil. Is oil the future of Africa?
Oil is still the future, but you also, because in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to be gas.
Okay.
There is nothing so important than gas. And here's why Africa plays a big role. We have more gas than America.
Okay.
We have more gas than Europe. We even have more gas than Russia. So if you are so untapped and underexplored, I mean, think about it. The gas Nigeria is flaring today can power 60% of the continent.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Bring it back.
It makes me cringe.
Wait.
It makes me cringe.
This gas we flare cannot wait.
Yeah.
60% of Nigeria or 60% of Africa.
Not Nigeria. The continent. If you capture that gas and transform it into LNG, you can have small scale LNG in barges and you move it around the Gulf of Guinea and even go right up to Kenya, going through South Africa. You can power plants all around in clean energy. So guess what? We will meet the climate change demands because you'll be reducing your carbon emissions. You're powering Africa, and you know how much money that would be for entrepreneurs, for Nigeria. Do you know how much tax base that you're creating? So if you only look at what is being wasted in Nigeria, and then you look at the missed opportunities. So what some people see as a disaster, it could become a bonanza. We just have to have clear, concerted effort and depoliticizing, like keep the politics out, drive up business, and really encourage these entrepreneurs to do that. Because at the end of the day, if this gas that is being fled in Nigeria comes out of Nigeria and you use it to power the entire 50-60% of the continent, that is so much revenue for Nigeria with this gas. So you're not worried about, I mean, you and I will probably get sad when we see how our brothers and sisters get treated in China or Europe or being on the street when they have so much resources that can create them more wealth at home and they can stay in their communities and be role models. That is supposed to be our future. Gas is our future.
All right.
That is what it is. Because with that gas, what are we going to do with that? Take, for example, Nigeria. 180, 200 million people. You could do urea, ammonia, NPK, fertilizer plants, not the big scales like what Dancoda is doing, small scales. What does that happen? You move people into agriculture. You move people into manufacturing, and we can feed ourselves and you move away from importing food stock from outside. And if you look at the north of Nigeria, you know, they say, oh, these guys, Boko Haram, they're just fundamentalists. They're hungry. You know, you don't get guys with fat bellies trying to go out there and fight wars.
Yeah.
You know, feed them, give them agricultural products. When they're hungry, they get fed, they're not going to fight wars. They are going to really focus. And we need to boost agriculture because that is the face. So you use your gas, you boost agriculture, you develop the continent.
All right. I want to know what you think about subsidies. Some Nigerians complain when government takes away the subsidy. I mean, we have the oil. The least the government can do for us is sell, for example, petrol to the average Nigerian at a far reduced price. But we seem to be paying something that we think is somewhat uncomfortable. What do you think about the removal of subsidies?
You should ask yourself who has benefited from the subsidies.
I was going to support that, question with that part.
Because the everyday Nigerian has really not benefited from the subsidies. So it's like you're giving me subsidy on one hand and you're taking it right away from the
other
hand.
Oh, okay.
If you look at it, the everyday people, you think you have subsidies in a dream, but you have a few cabals that really, really benefit and take out millions of dollars from the system in the name of subsidies. So you're not really benefiting from subsidies. Wow. So let me ask you this. What is the benefit of having 10, 15, 20 naira off? You save 10, 15, 20 naira every month and not being able to have constant flowing electricity
or even water.
You can't maintain your roads. You can't develop your country. So you have this social giveaway that at the end of the day, a few really benefit from it and everything. So it's not working. They've tried to reform it for many years. It needs to be scrapped, and you need to let people, but again, replace subsidies with something that actually works, because everyday Nigerians need a common sense energy agenda that works for them. And that's the only thing they ask. Everyday Nigerians and Africans as a whole, they're not asking for billions of dollars. I mean, I like billions. I write books about billions. But they're not asking for billions. They just want something that works, and they say, let's drive Nigeria forward. They would be happy because they know their country, their government, and their communities are accountable to the taxpayers.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. You wrote a book, and you just spoke about it passively a minute ago. You wrote a book about, it's titled Billions at Play. Tell us the whole idea behind that book.
The idea behind the book is we had 1 billion people in the continent.
Yeah.
And these billion people can really play a role in shaping energy. But again, we're looking at the future and saying, how do we shape an African energy future that works for all Africans? So I take some of the uncomfortable issues that we don't want to discuss in Africa. When issues of transparency, issues of increasing investor outreach, and really driving it, our special relationship with the states, with the United States, and how they have been really, really good at shaping some of our values and our exploration and production of our assets, and also looking at local communities. But I tap on one issue which I think I'm very passionate about, the role of women in the oil and gas sector.
Okay.
I think we have done, if you put on A to F, I would give Africa an F on what Africa has done with women in the oil and gas sector. You can't take a segment of our population that is 52 to 55%, and you basically shut them out of the oil and gas industry, whether intentional or unintentional. It is not enough to have one woman and we celebrate them, but there are 5,000 men in the industry. How do you, women don't buy milk cheaper, women don't pay rent cheaper, women don't buy cars cheaper, they don't pay school fees cheaper. So if you involve women in the oil and gas sector and give them leadership roles, promote them and protect them, because most men like me, we don't know how hard it is for women to survive in the workplace. We don't know how hard it is to deal with harassment issues that we don't talk about, and even pay issues, and some of the slight comments that we make at the workplace that is so uncomfortable for someone to get up every morning and feel passionate to go there. And for me, I felt it was a platform for me to really discuss that. Some people might not be really happy with it, but if we have to talk about the Africa of the future, we need to discuss these issues, because women are not something like what you talk about, things. They belong there. I went to school, trust me, most women, they beat me so bad when it came to grades. I mean, some of the best lawyers we have at the firm, they're women. They do better than most men. But let's face it, when they get out of the office, you walk in there, they look at the men and think, oh, he's supposed to be smart now. And so you want the job done, get women involved and everything. And the oil and gas industry has to do that. We owe it to Africa, and we can lead with these issues. And if we don't start talking about it, and if men don't take stock on it, we are really going to make mistakes on that. And so the book discussed energy transition, climate change, which is a big issue right now, but also how to get Africa to use gas to really develop our continent. That is something that we have to look at and we have to pay clear attention to.
Sure. Where can we get your book from? Or books?
It's still on Amazon. I was lucky, made bestseller. I don't know what that means. I'm still waiting for the money.
Okay.
But, someone wrote me and said, man, you charge us a lot on the book. But I'm just happy to, it's everywhere on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it's online. I am just lucky to have had a chance to talk about an African vision, an African story, from my journeys around Africa with oil and gas, traveling in, whether you're going into Port Harcourt or going into Sapele or going to different places around Nigeria and around Africa. But it's our generation's time, it's Africa's time, it's how we shape it. And nothing is taboo in the industry. We need to confront it, because a lot of our people, really need this, and we will not be leading if we're not really confronting the hard issues.
All right. If you have just tuned in, we have been speaking with NJ Ayuk. He is CEO of Pan-African Corporate Law Conglomerate. He is also the author of the book titled Billions at Play. You should check it out on Amazon. You have been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor, and I couldn't have missed it for anything.
We appreciate
My wife
that.
says I'm locked down on lockdown, so I don't have any excuse.
Thank you.
So I have to be here, and thank you for putting out that voice for so many people that don't have a voice. You've really been a voice for them.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. 99.3 Nigeria Info. I want to say thanks to everybody who has been a part of this, and to the man behind the camera, Babatunde Abdusalam. We are off on a break, and I'll be right back. We are Nigeria Info. My name is Joyce.